Hello, everyone, and happy weekend. I hope you're all safe and healthy. Welcome to Education USA Libya, and thank you for joining us today. This is Amira, the Education USA advisor from Libya. So if you are interested in pursuing a graduate degree in the US, and if you are considering the science, technology, engineering, or math programs, follow this live session. Today, we're hosting two representatives from Stevens Institute of Technology in New Jersey to talk about the STEM programs for graduate students and the funding options. Hi, ladies.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up my screen.
Okay, so Marina, I'm gonna just start with a brief introduction about Education USA. It's okay, no problem. And then I'm gonna turn it over to you. Okay, so yeah. So thank you again for joining us, everyone. And we're gonna start with a brief introduction about Education USA. So who are we and how can we help you? Okay. So if anyone of you wants to gain a new academic experience in the US, and get a bachelor's degree, master's degree, a PhD in US, you are in the right place because Education USA is your official source to study in the United States. So we are a US Department of State network. So our network is big and we're based in more than 170 countries. There are over 430 Education USA centers in the world. All what you have to do is to find the advising center of your country and get in touch with your advisor. We are here to help you by offering free, unbiased, and accurate information about US colleges and universities. So if you have any questions, always get back to us. Now, how can we help you? What is our mission and why are we here? So the first thing is, since we're working virtual, we offer free info sessions on our Facebook page about different topics related to studying in the US, such as sessions about how to find the university that matches your needs, sessions about scholarships and financial aid options, sessions about essays or personal statement writing, sessions that cover new opportunities, like the session that we had last week with the Fulbright, about the Fulbright program and the CCC, etc. So we're holding a session also with the visa counselor very soon, so stay tuned. Number two, we host US college representatives to share with you different programs, majors, tips and tricks to have good applications. And sometimes we host Libyan alumni to share their experiences in the US with you. And number three, we meet virtually with you as a student or with your parents to answer specific questions or help you through the process to study in the US. So where can you find us? These are my contact information. Here's my phone number if you'd like to text me via WhatsApp. Here's my email address. And this is the official website of Education USA. We are accessible on Instagram, on Facebook. So just type Education USA Libya and you can find us and get in touch with us. And as I told you, this is our official website if you would like to get more information about our 5 steps and how to find financial aid options and the accessible events too. All right. So again, I'm so happy today to have Amanda and Marina from Stevens Institute of Technology to share with you anything you need to know about the STEM programs and the funding options for graduate students. So let me introduce my guests quickly. So Marina, she's graduate admissions coordinator of graduate admissions. She had 3 years of experience in the field of higher education administration, attending domestic and international recruitment events, and advising prospective and admitted students for the engineering, business, and science graduate programs. Marina holds a Bachelor of Arts in Journalism and Political Science from Rutgers University. Now, Amanda Mendes is Associate Director of Office of Graduate Admissions. She has more than 5 years of experience in the field of higher education administration, offering expertise in admission and recruitment of both international and domestic students. Amanda holds a Bachelor of Engineering and Master of Engineering in Biomedical Engineering from Stevens Institute of Technology. Now I'm gonna turn it over to my guests.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. I know that my colleague Marina is going to be sharing her slides shortly, but we really appreciate everyone being here today. We're really excited to talk to you about the topic of our presentation, which is STEM Funding Guide for Graduate Students. First and foremost, I do hope that you all find yourselves well and safe in these unprecedented times. Now, our hope today is to represent Stevens Institute, to introduce you to the STEM programs, to speak to you about one of the most important topics that prospective graduate students have, which is funding for graduate studies. And so by the end of the presentation, we do hope that you all have a better understanding as to how you can fund a STEM graduate program, okay? So let's delve into what STEM programs are. Some of you have just started your search for a graduate program. Perhaps you're trying to determine what is the right graduate program for you. Maybe you're thinking about a science, technology, engineering, mathematics degree. And if so, this is really great. We are going to introduce to you a couple of reasons why you should consider STEM graduate programs before we delve into how you can fund your studies, okay? So one of the first reasons that you should consider a STEM graduate program is because STEM graduate programs do offer introductions to technologies and different technologies across different areas. So technology is at the core of everything we do, okay? So think about, you know, the technologies that are dominating the current market. Marina, if you can just change the slide, please. Thank you. Think about the technology companies that are dominating the current market. In the early 2000s, one of the strongest and most prominent companies was Microsoft. But by the year 2018, as you can see from this diagram on the slide, there have been many more companies that are dominating the market. These include Apple, Alphabet, Microsoft, Amazon. And so you can really see that there is a need for technology. Companies are looking for graduates who have programs and knowledge and skills in technology, okay? So this is one of the reasons that you should consider a STEM graduate program, because it is in demand. Now, another reason that you should consider STEM graduate programs is because of the transferable technical and management skills that are offered by STEM graduate programs. So you might ask yourself, what are these transferable technical skills? What are these management skills that STEM graduate programs give me? Well, within every field of STEM, there are many technical skills, and these technical skills will change from one year to another. They will advance. There will be new skills that you need to obtain to stay current and relevant in your field. STEM graduate programs give you the topics you need, the knowledge you need to stay relevant. If we take the business industry, for instance, the current trends include age of networks, age of platforms, age of data. And these current trends are forces of change. Why? Because now employers and who are looking for graduates are going to be looking for graduates who have knowledge in these areas, such as networks, platforms, data. So this is what STEM graduate programs can give you: relevant, current technical skills. And of course, they will also introduce to you the management skills that you will need, because both technical and management skills complement each other in the working world. A third reason why you should consider STEM graduate programs include the fact that STEM graduate programs give you the opportunity to engage in groundbreaking and life-changing research. Now, you may think, well, I'm not interested in research if I'm not going into a science field. But in reality, research is something that is part of every industry. Why? Because in every industry, there is data to be reviewed. There are decisions to be made. From decisions, a new product, a new service, a new design is developed. And so when a new design is developed, research plays a strong part in this. So research does affect our everyday lives, whether it be in the financial or the healthcare industry. Of course, if you take the current pandemic that we're living in as an example, you can think about the need for research and the need for STEM professionals. Think about the number of organizations, the universities, the companies that are currently studying to understand COVID-19. Think about the universities that are currently investigating new diagnostic tools, the new pharmaceuticals that are finding ways to better treat the disease, okay? So think about how STEM is in fact a priority for many organizations. Research is a priority and there is investment in this research. So this is a third reason that you should consider looking for a STEM graduate program, okay? One last reason to consider the STEM graduate program fields is because they do offer rewarding career opportunities, okay? According to the US Bureau of Labor Statistics, employment in STEM-related occupations was expected to grow to more than 9 million by the year of 2022. So what does this mean to you? Well, this means that STEM graduates are in demand, and they're in demand not only for the science, again, the technology fields, they're also in demand by business companies. According to GMAC Applications Trend Survey 2019, more than 90% of Fortune Global 100 and 500 companies hired MBA talent, okay? So once again, the numbers on this slide, the trends that are highlighted by some higher education agencies are a testament to how rewarding a career can be after pursuing a STEM graduate degree, okay? So do keep this in mind. Now, of course, shifting gears a little bit and delving into how can you fund your STEM graduate program, let's think about the different ways that, again, you can take to prepare financially for this huge endeavor. Committing to a graduate program is, of course, not an easy decision to take. So we do hope that, once again, the guidance that we are providing you here will help you develop a framework and a plan for how you can pursue your graduate program in a STEM field. So first and foremost, how do you find a STEM graduate program? Again, in the US, you do have to do some research on the different universities. You have to think about, first and foremost, what type of program you are looking for. What is it in your future career that you would like to pursue? Is there a particular position? Is there a particular job that you're looking for? Based on your career goals, on the job that you're looking to attain, you will then need to think about what is the best program for you. Now, once you have an idea of what career you want to pursue, you do have to begin your research. And your research has to begin with looking through the different university websites and identifying what STEM graduate programs are offered by the different universities, okay? There are so many universities out there that will have their programs listed by school or by department. There will be a smaller list that will further identify the STEM graduate programs at that particular university, okay? So it will take you some time to first research the different schools that you're considering. You can consider schools by location. You can consider schools, again, by the program that you think you need to pursue to obtain your career goals. And then once you have, again, narrowed down the schools that you are thinking about, you will have to do research within the website themselves to find the list of graduate STEM programs. once you actually have an idea of which graduate program you want to pursue, you do have to become knowledgeable about, first and foremost, is this a master's program? Is it a PhD program? Funding for STEM graduate programs will vary based on whether they are master's programs or doctoral programs, okay? So at different institutions, including Stevens, we offer institutional fellowships, okay? These fellowships may often be called scholarships. And at Stevens, we offer what we call our Provost Master Scholarships and our Provost Doctoral Fellowships. And so both of these fellowships are, in essence, funding that is given to students, again, depending on whether they're applying to a master's or PhD program. The award is given based on academic achievement, on research, on your academic profile overall. So this is one of the reasons why when you are preparing to submit an application, you do have to prepare each and every document very carefully. Why? Because when your applicant profile is submitted, it is being submitted for review to determine your admissibility, but also to determine if there is any particular funding that can be given, okay? So make sure that you are spending the time that you need to spend to outline, you know, your interests in a particular program on your resume, on your statement of purpose. It will be very crucial for you to outline this so that faculty members reviewing it can get a sense of who you are, what your career goals are, and again, can determine if you're admissible into this program. Of course, when you're preparing the documents, it's very important that you keep in mind application requirements. At Stevens, we do not require a separate application for this type of funding, but at different schools, the requirement may be different. You may have to submit a different application outside of the one that you are submitting for admission. So keep that in mind. There will be deadlines as well that you will have to keep to. And all of this information, of course, you will further be able to understand once you connect with admission officers. So that is why it's very important that when you have narrowed down your list of schools, you are contacting admission officers so that you are in touch with them and you do get to know all of these application requirements, deadlines, so that you understand your chances as well for this type of degree, and so that you can begin to look for alternative funding sources if you learn that you will need something additional to supplement your graduate studies. Okay. A second form of funding that is available at the graduate level for STEM programs at Stevens, at least, and I know that at other schools as well, this is a particular option, is what they call graduate assistantships. Now, graduate assistantships come in two different forms. There is one that is research assistantships, and then there is teaching assistantships. Research assistantships are the type of funding where you as a student will engage in research under a faculty member's supervision. You will receive payment for this work that you do in the research field, either in the form of tuition or as a stipend, okay? Or in some cases, even both. Now, the work that you will have to commit to may be up to 20 hours per week during a given semester. Now, some things that will help you obtain these research assistantships really depend on, you know, your areas of interest in a particular research project. Research assistantships really depend, again, on the research area that you are most interested in. So if right now you know that you would like to do research with medical devices, when you're doing your research with universities, when you're talking to faculty, when you're talking to admission officers, ask about this research. Ask them to find out what type of research can students do, for example, in the field of medical devices. This is how you will get to know, first and foremost, if there is research conducted in that university for the area that you are most interested. But secondly, this will also allow you to understand if there are faculty that you can work with. And in essence, This will then help you understand your chances in securing a research assistantship. Keep in mind that assistantships, at least at Stevens, in the form of research, are generally given to PhD students because of the nature of a PhD degree, which involves a lot of research hours. But again, at different universities, you may be eligible for these types of assistantships. The key thing is to build a relationship with faculty members and get to know what opportunities there are before you apply. Teaching assistantships are a little bit different in the work that's involved. You as a student may be required to assist a professor with teaching an undergraduate course or lab. So it will not require you to do research. It will require you to act more as an assistant professor almost. The payment, again, will be the same. This will depend, again, on the universities, but at least at Stevens, the payment for teaching assistants is in the form of either tuition coverage and or a stipend. The hours will vary by week. It depends on the course. It depends on the assistance that the professor might need. Some expert tips to help you understand or learn more about teaching assistantships. Definitely ask admission officers about how you can be considered for such assistantships, because this will allow you to understand if you have to apply separately through a different portal. It will help you understand how better to prepare your applicant profile. Also think about the undergraduate courses that you performed well, because oftentimes in order for you to become a teaching assistant, you will need to be proficient in that particular area. And so think about what undergraduate classes you took that you really enjoyed, that you perform well. And then once you are talking and interacting with faculty, you can get to know a little bit more about if there is an opportunity to be a teaching assistant for a particular course. For both of these, it's very crucial that you build a relationship. Interacting with admission officers early on, interacting with faculty members of particular programs of your interest are very crucial when it comes to securing any type of funding in the form of assistantships. Because again, faculty members want to know what the students are like, want to know what the work ethic is like in order to be able to commit to having a student help them in their research or to having a student help them with teaching a course. So networking is very important, and that's something that we can't stress enough how important it is to begin doing that even before you apply to a particular university. Okay. All right. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to my colleague Marina. I believe she's going to continue the slides for us.
Hi, everyone. So another form of a financial resource that a lot of our students do take advantage of, and in general is available to students at the schools in general, is the on-campus employment. Sometimes they're also called graduate administrative assistantships. And this is a great resource to definitely take advantage of. You will find on the school's websites, it most likely would be called student employment. But you could also Google administrative assistantships just to see what's available, and it will list, the portal that you can use to apply, the type of jobs that are available, and it could come. And the good thing is that there are jobs that are available across all the different types of departments. And this is a good way to really get your feet wet and get experience with the American work culture. That's one exposure that you're going to be getting, the expectations, even just to have the practice of working in some sort of workspace in an office that's going to really help you for your future job with your STEM degree. And depending on what you like or what you kind of want to shadow, you can see which offices are offering jobs and what the positions require. And that way you can kind of apply to the things that you think would help you with certain skills or certain experience. And the ones that are bolded on the slide here are just different examples of departments that you could work for. So for example, the Office of Graduate Admissions, where Amanda and I work, we're always hiring students, and they do get great experience. And, it's nice to hear them come back and, just see how well they're doing with their STEM degree, just again, it's all about practice, and there's no practice that's too small for anyone. So it's definitely a good thing to consider. Also, another office is like the library or the gym or graduate student life. So these are some examples you can think of in the back of your mind when you're looking for jobs. Typically, with the F1 student visa, you are allowed to work up to 20 hours per week. But during the summer, it is increased to 33 hours. So the good thing is you can continue to work with your visa and you get increased hours. So that's going to help, that just gives you an opportunity to continue working even when school's not in session. And the payment is every 2 weeks you will get paid. So it's twice a month you're getting your check for your work. So some expert tips. Be sure, as I mentioned, to visit the Student Employment Office web pages, because that's going to list the requirements, the application process, everything that you need. It's easy to follow typically. So, with this, again, you're going to find yourself doing a lot of research in all different areas. And this is certainly one that is worth your while. So that's something you're going to also look into, and it will be readily available to you from the school. And you will hear us talk about this all the time, but again, building the relationships with the faculty members and other staff members is super important. And again, it's going to give you the experience and the practice you need to build the network. And sometimes, we hear about networking a lot, and it's one of those things that you only learn how to do just by doing it and figuring out and building these relationships. And again, the same way that you build a network at your school is the same way you're going to build your network with your job. And when you're looking for another job in a higher position, you're always going to need your network to use as assistance or as a guide to keep building your career. So it's never too early to start, and the best place to start is at your graduate school. And of course, you need to be persistent and patient. The approach of applying on an on-campus position is the same way you would in the real world, so to say. You need to be persistent. So you need to keep applying, give things a chance. And then you also have to be patient, because sometimes you might not get an answer right away. Sometimes you might not get an answer at all. It's the same way when you are applying for your jobs in your career. It is a patient game that you have to, abide by. So again, it's all great practice. And of course, you will get something, when the time is right and it does work out. So in addition to student employment, you have your CPT and OPT opportunities, which is unique specifically to STEM programs. So non-STEM programs do not get this opportunity. So what is CPT and OPT? It's the curricular practical training and your occupational practical training. And these are the two opportunities you get to work or intern while you are studying for your STEM degree in the US. So your CPT is typically we can call it is kind of like an internship, but it's the work experience that you're going to be getting during your studies, and typically in between your first year of completion and your second year of your degree. So it's typically that summer in between your 2 years of your master's degree. And so it's important to really know how long your master's degree is going to take, because that's going to determine the order of when you're going to be taking your CPT. If your program is 3 semesters or 4 semesters, that summer you'll have your CPT. But if your degree is only 1 year, you would jump into your OPT right away. So that's why it's important to really research how long your degree is going to take you to complete. And then the OPT is the 3-year extended stay that comes with your visa and your STEM degree for you to stay in the United States and to work. And this is a really good opportunity, especially for our international students, because you get to have a good chunk of 3 years to stay in the US to get the experience you need. And then from there you can decide, okay, do I want to go back home? Many students like to do that. They take a lot of the skills that they learn to start a business or to help a business back home, or you can decide to stay. So, you at least you get the experience you need, and then that way you can make a clear decision of, okay, how do I want to move forward after you complete your 3 years of OPT in the States. So with the expert tips, it's important to engage with the Career Services Center, along with the Graduate Student Life and the Academic Support Centers. These three, you will find that all the departments offered in your school, we all work together because it is a very dynamic experience to make sure that you're getting your, that your grades are up, that you're getting your social, you're building a social life and a social experience on campus, along with making sure you're getting good grades. It's really a holistic experience getting your graduate degree in the United States. And I find that it really is rewarding. So it's important to keep in touch with all of these departments and staff members from them, especially with career services. These are the kind of people you want to connect with from the get-go. The moment you arrive, ask questions, because they're going to tell you, okay, they're going to give you the schedule of when they're going to have career fairs. They'll give you tips on how to improve your resume. They will also help you network to land interviews and to prepare for those interviews. So they really are the people that are going to be guiding you to reach that, ultimate success with your degree, and to really just maximize the opportunities for you. So that's certainly one department you want to learn about and connect with. And as I said, especially here at Stevens, for example, we really do want you to have a holistic experience. So we want you to do well academically, and we also want you to excel socially as well. So we offer a lot of different clubs. We offer a lot of cultural clubs. We do have a lot of students that come from the Middle East. So there's always going to be a piece of home no matter where you come from. And that's important to have. You don't want to, you need the balance, trust me, because I'm also a student. So it's important to do that. And of course, the academic centers, they're the people that help you, if you have any issues or if you want to expedite your studies or anything like that. They're just the ones that make sure that you're on track and help you to stay on track. And again, our favorite word, networking. You want to network with your industry professors. These professors come with a lot of experience, and they've been in the industry for decades. So they have so much just knowledge, and you want to take advantage of them. You want to take advantage of their knowledge and the time that they offer with their office hours and their courses, because their experience really is unprecedented, and it does help our students excel as well. And of course, you want to also connect with other students and alumni, especially the alumni, because they will, connect with you, and they'll give you tips on, what they thought, what kind of courses they thought helped them the most. And LinkedIn is, of course, a great resource for that. And at Stevens, we have different softwares like Handshake, which, you can, it's basically a software. It's kind of like LinkedIn. You can upload your resume on it, and then you can find jobs through that portal as well. So there's many things out there that schools will help you prepare for. So, you're making sure you're doing everything you can for finding your job. And of course, landing the OPT. And all of this is going to help you prepare for especially your OPT, because you want to make sure that it's in line and ready for you in graduation, so that you're not rushing or scared or feel like you missed out on something. So everything that you do, all the networking and the department connections that you go to, this is going to help you prepare, make sure your CPT and your OPTs are in order, and that's super important. Another thing really to keep in mind, is, which we've touched upon a lot, is the services. So the services from the we call it the ISSS office. These are this is the department that distributes your I-20 and helps with your visa application, or at least prepare for your visa interview. And like I said, the Graduate Student Life, the Career Services Center, these are all services that are offered. So it's good to, when you're doing your research for your school, to see what the school offers through these departments. And of course, the location matters, especially here in the United States. And Amanda touched upon this. We are a huge country, and in some areas of the States, there is a specialty or a certain industry that's that has a very strong presence. So luckily for us in the New Jersey, New York area, we offer every industry under the sun here, and they're all very prominent. And that is the exciting thing about being in the metro area here in New Jersey and New York, especially since we're, for example, at Stevens in Hoboken, we're so close to the city. So that's a network that we take advantage of at our school to offer to our students. But another thing is more unique to New Jersey, for example, is the pharmaceutical industry. We have so many headquarters here. So if this was, one particular industry you were interested in, New Jersey in general would be a place to look. And, so that's just like something to keep in mind, like what kind of industry, where is it prominent in the United States, or which metro areas would help build your network to build your career. These are the questions you want to ask yourself in your research. And lastly, some additional resources. And I believe Amira said that last week you guys had a discussion about Fulbright, which is a great resource to look into. So Fulbright and IIE, these are government organizations that allow students to apply, and it is competitive, and they select students, of course, based on their story and their academic merit, and they help fund your studies here in the United States. And I personally work very closely with these organizations for Stevens on behalf of our students, and it is very exciting. It is certainly something you want to look into and apply to and see what are the chances of you getting the scholarship and being selected. It's definitely worth looking into, as I said. So Fulbright, IIE, keep these also in the back of your mind, and also see what your home country also offers. See if there are some sort of awards or scholarships that could be obtained, see how to apply. And the great thing about Education USA is that they truly help you, and since they also work and are part of the government as well, they'll have the best insight. So they will tell you, of course, like what resources and tools that are available to you and how to go about applying for them and things like that. So again, consider this part of your networking process. Do not be afraid to ask and to reach out to these advisors. Everyone here we're here to help, and we're here to answer questions. So don't be afraid to send out a few emails. And lastly, we would just like to share some of our alumni and their experiences and benefits from gaining their STEM degree. So the first person is Andres Contreras. He's actually from Venezuela. He graduated back in 2014. And he said that selecting a STEM program really just helped him put into practice what he learned in his undergraduate education and just helped him really mature professionally. So, again, the good thing about the STEM program is that this is something that you select because you chose this industry and you want to excel in it. And that's the best feeling when you have control and you're working towards a goal that you want to do. And he said that it helps his career outcome by being able to pursue opportunities from his graduate program field with confidence and proof of his investment. So of course, grad school is an investment. So, again, you're making these decisions intentionally because it's going to help you down the line. And lastly, you want to make sure to see what open houses and webinars are available with the schools. This is a great tool because you can connect with faculty in advance. You get to know who they are and they get to see you and you talk to you. So when you are sending out an email, the discussion you're going to have is going to be much more fruitful because you've already met online. And, with COVID, it's really made us all turn to online events. So there's so much more that's being offered by the schools. So definitely take advantage. Even just by joining here, one of the advantages is if you apply, we will waive your application fee. And I'm sure a lot of other schools will offer some sort of incentive like that. So it's definitely worth your while to see what events are available to you. And lastly, in this online social world, always connect with your schools through their social media outlets. All schools have so many different pages out there, and you can hit them up in their messages, on Facebook or on Instagram. So that's also another way just to get some quick answers. It's definitely a good tool to connect with your schools. So that concludes our presentation, and we'll go ahead and jump into some questions.
Thank you so much. That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you, ladies, for providing all of these great information for students who are interested in funding a STEM graduate program in the US. And if anyone has like more questions maybe to ask later, I mean, if you have any questions to ask now, please type them down in the chat box on our Facebook page. And if you have any questions maybe you'll think of later, please reach out to Amanda or to Marina. So you have their contact information. So Marina, could you please share them again with the students? That would be helpful. Yeah. So thank you again. Now, for anyone who's joined us a few minutes ago, don't worry about this. So this video is recorded and you can find it on our Facebook page and you can share it with your friends too. Okay. Now, let's start with the first question that I received from Asma. So Asma wants to get more information about the eligibility requirement for the research and teaching assistantship that you mentioned in your presentation for international students. So could you please share with her more details about the eligibility requirements? Thank you.
Sure, absolutely. So thank you so much for asking this follow-up question. It is very, very important that you understand eligibility and the criteria, what's going to help you strengthen your academic profile to secure an assistantship, okay? So first and foremost, specifically for Stevens, research assistantships are generally given to students who are pursuing PhD degrees, okay? So if you are a PhD applicant, my first recommendation would be to, before starting an application, make sure you are reviewing the research areas, the research laboratories that are a part of our academic department or the school that you are interested. So for example, let's say you are interested in civil engineering at Stevens. The first thing you will need to do with our guidance is get to know what research laboratories are under the Department of Civil, Environmental, and Ocean Engineering. We will connect you with faculty so that you can understand what projects they're working on. And it will be very crucial for you to actually make the connection, to speak with a faculty member, to get on to schedule a meeting or a phone call. Once you have understood whether or not this research that the faculty is conducting is of interest to you, then to prepare for the application, you will need to make sure that on your statement of purpose, you focus one paragraph at the very least on why you're pursuing the PhD in civil engineering, why you're pursuing a particular area of research, and why you want to work with a particular faculty member, okay? So this is the thought process of how one could try to secure a research assistantship at Stevens at the PhD level. If you're a master's student interested in a research assistantship at Stevens, as a new incoming student, you will not be eligible to receive one. You will be considered for what we call our Provost Master Scholarships. However, once you are a student at Stevens, maybe you're in your second or third semester of your master's degree, then you can go ahead and talk with your faculty, talk with your advisor, talk with your mentors within your department to really understand what availability there is for you to gain a research assistantship. This is where networking is going to play a huge part, as we stress so much in the presentation, because these faculty members will really think back to, first and foremost, how you performed in their courses, what your work ethic is like, what your persistence and perseverance really is like, because this will, they do want to see your passion, your motivation for conducting research in order to give you a research assistantship, okay? So that's how one would be considered for a research assistantship at Stevens. Again, if you're a master's student or a PhD student, I hope that you were able to gain a little more insight on this. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Amanda. Now I have another student about the transfer process. It's not about the scholarships or the funding options. So if someone started like the first year of master's degree in Libya and wants to transfer, let's say, to Stevens Institute of Technology, what is the process? What should this student take into consideration?
So the best thing to do first is to reach out to the director of that program. And then they need to look at the transcript to see if they can, what is eligible to be transferred. And if anything is eligible to be transferred, it's typically up to 9 credits. So that's not, at least at Stevens, it's not something that's done automatically just by submitting the completed application. You do have to connect in advance to see. So that way, when you do submit the application, you know if anything is counted or not. So you have to ask first. And then if you don't know who to connect with, you would just connect with the graduate admissions office, because they'll guide you to who that person will be to evaluate.
Fair enough. Thank you, Marina. Okay, I have a tricky question now from Hatem. He said, can students get 2 scholarships at the same time from the same university? Like maybe it could be the assistantship one, it could be, let's say, the on-campus opportunity. Is it doable?
So at Stevens particularly, you will not be eligible to receive 2 scholarships. Again, scholarships that we offer at the master's level are those that we call the Provost Master Scholarships. Now, of course, when you're being reviewed for admission, you're also being reviewed for this funding. And if you are considered as one of the applicants who is top applicant for a given semester, you will be given an award that will be dispersed into 2 semesters. Okay, so it will be an award that can be applied and shared amongst your first and second semester. So for example, if you're given a $10,000 scholarship, $5,000 of your scholarship will be applied to the fall semester, and the second half would be applied to your spring semester. So in that way, there is some financial support for both semesters of your first year of a graduate program, okay? But in essence, there wouldn't be the possibility to get 2 scholarships from Stevens. However, if you would have received a scholarship from your government, or if you would have received a scholarship from an outside source, yes, you could use that scholarship from the outside source and the Stevens scholarship to complement, of course, the funds that you need for your studies at Stevens. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you again, Amanda. Okay, let's move on to the next question. So when are graduate classes typically held, and what study options are available at the Institute?
So mostly for the graduates, there are many evening classes. So many you'll find will start around 6:30 p.m. EST. And we've actually, since the pandemic, have offered a lot more like modes to do your studies. So we've always had online. We've been actually doing online courses since back in 2000, before it was really a thing. So that's something, at least at Stevens, we've really mastered. So the transition with the pandemic really was seamless for us because it's been there. So to do it fully online, most of our programs are offered online, which you could do. Of course, we've also offered on-campus courses. Even with the pandemic happening, that was still available to our students. Of course, we had to reduce the number and things like that, but that's also available. And we also offer a hybrid option as well. So you can do, depending on what you select, you can, start online and then transition to campus, depending, of course, on the visa, being granted the visa, because that was something that we had to accommodate for our students. And then and you could also take like both a mix of online and on campus at the same time. So that's also available to you. So it really is at your convenience and what, with your visa status as well. But at Stevens, at least, and I'm sure most schools have been very accommodating for your situation. So especially if you wanted an online option, that's always going to be available to you.
Interesting. Thank you so much, Marina. So what kind of career opportunities exist at Stevens Institute of Technology?
So I'll answer a little bit, and then maybe Marina, on your experience, based on your experience as a student, you could also add anything you'd like. So in terms of career opportunities, it really does depend first and foremost on what graduate program you are looking to pursue. Okay, because as Marina alluded to during the presentation, we have a lot of support services that help our current graduate students with developing the right resume, with practicing on how to conduct themselves in an interview, with preparing for a career fair. Okay, obviously you are all choosing to pursue a graduate degree to improve your career outcomes, to get that dream job that you have so desired. So it is important that first and foremost, when you come to Stevens, hopefully for a graduate program, you begin to familiarize yourself with all the support services and resources that there are to guide you through your career search for an internship or a full-time position. The career outcomes, again, do depend on the program of study. We have students who come to us for an engineering or a science program. We have other students who join Stevens to pursue a business program. We have a separate school, which is called the School of Systems and Enterprises, where engineering management, systems engineering programs are found. So the career outcomes do vary, but one thing I can say is our students perform very, very well. Last year, for students who graduated in May of 2020, the career outcomes, I believe, were over 80%. So more than 80% of our graduating students in May of 2020 had secured jobs within 3 months of graduation, okay? So that is just one general statistic that I would like to share with you all to give you an idea of how our students have performed once they have completed their graduate degrees. Again, statistics do vary based on the program. There are more specific statistics based on a particular program that we could, have a follow-up conversation with you if you're interested in one area versus another. But in general, this is the success rate of our students. And again, we are strong believers that their success is due to the fact that, of course, they have put effort from day one in getting to know what resources there are, in using the resources. And we also do attest it to the strength of our Career Services Center and the guidance of our faculty members. Our faculty members do wonders in terms of mentoring our students, and they work very, very closely from day one with our students. So I think if you as a student come to Stevens and you familiarize yourself with the resources and you do the networking that we are so often suggesting, you will do well. Okay, Marina, I don't know if you want to add anything to that, from your perspective as a student in the business school.
I mean, it definitely covers everything. Again, I would just highlight just really connecting with the Career Services Department from, from the beginning, because they really are going to help you with the skills you need and to really prepare for the interviews. So yeah.
Very interesting. Okay, so for anyone who's watching us, please keep your questions coming. This is your chance to get your answers. And ladies, I know that we talked a lot about the funding options for the graduate students, but Ahmed, one of the attendees, wants to know if the STEM programs are fully funded or partially funded.
So our STEM master's programs are partially funded. Our STEM PhD programs, it depends on the department. Some departments do fully fund students. Some other departments fund them partially. It does really depend on the program, the department, and of course, the semester and the year that you're applying to. Students who are applying to PhD programs, again, because research is such a crucial component of the program, it does depend on grants that the university is receiving, that faculty are receiving. And so again, it's hard to say from one year to the next who and how many PhD students will be funded, for example. But the one thing for sure is if you are a PhD applicant, as I mentioned earlier, first and foremost, you need to understand, is the research that you are interested in, is it available at Stevens, for example, or is it available at any other university? Because a huge component is going to be the research for a PhD program. So you want to make sure that before you apply to any university, you are familiar with what opportunities you will have for a particular research area. Okay, thank you.
Definitely. I totally agree with you, Amanda. And so here we go. Thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Marina and Amanda, for your instructive information. And thank you for joining us today also. And we hope to have you again in the future with more opportunities. And for anyone who's watching us, if you have any other questions, not specifically to today's topic, like related to today's topic, please get back to me, your advisor, and I'm more than happy to help you with that. So now, when it comes to our upcoming sessions, if you are a talented student who is into music and who is into sports, tune in and join our next Friday session, which is about music and education, music and sports education in the US. So thank you so much again, ladies, and have a good night. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.